And if that's what racing spirit is about, I am very proud to be part of the spirit of this racing series, which of course is the MX5 Championship. And this week we are back at Zwartkops Raceway. We were there a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was last week, in fact, but now we are back once again to rerun this event. And I am very excited, David Christie, because Spirit Invest, Caris Asset Management, RDSA, Warwick Wealth, Appleton, and of course StarFunds.ai have brought us back to this point. And we, my friend, are about to go racing once more.
We certainly are. Good evening, Ernest. Good evening, everybody in chat. Welcome back to Zwartkops. So good, we're doing it a second time, and my goodness me, are we in for an absolute treat tonight. 2 25-minute races. We get a reverse grid, partial reverse grid on the second race. This championship has just had everything so far, and we're only on round 2.
Oh, indeed we are. But speaking of rounds, David Christie, that championship is looking pretty tasty at the moment, with all these drivers fighting it out to see who can get to the top spot. Tiaan van Rooyen, as you can see, is on your screen at the moment with 95 points in the bag, with Martin Jacobs with 90 and Cody Shedden with 71. Now, Cody is quite a fair bit down, but between Jacobs and van Rooyen, it's anybody's game to play with. Lots of points on the table, though, so all of those other drivers can still fight their way through. It's very much early days in the championship at the moment, David.
It absolutely is, and as we switch to the final 8 drivers, you know, Jason Gray all the way down to Ethan Geeschen, who is one to watch, and Hein van Tonder down in 23rd and 24th position. Again, this is exactly what we were saying. So many points still on offer for the championship. Yeah. There's literally nothing that you can take away from this the start to the season, and everything that we saw at Killarney, this is going to be an absolute banger of a race tonight.
Oh, yes. We saw lots and lots of close racing, lots and lots of action. And David, I believe, I'm going to personalize this a little bit. I believe that you've got a couple of surprises in store for us when it comes to the look and feel of this broadcast.
Oh, yes. So obviously we've been cooking in the kitchen, and, you know, with the Assetto Corsa, we're not as spoiled as with other sims like iRacing and Le Mans Ultimate in terms of the graphic packages that are available. So we tried baking our own, and we decided, actually, do you know what? Store-bought cake tastes even better. So that's what we're doing tonight. We've got a brand new graphics package. Very, very much looking forward to showing that off tonight. But we're going to be a couple of minutes away from qualifying, so just time to check out on what happened last time.
Let's do it. Go. Van Rooyen leads us. Of course, there's lots of bumping there in the midfield over there. The 125 pushing off. Oh, somebody's gone sideways. Backwards goes the 125. We're just chatting about that car as Van Niekerk jumps in to join the party as well. De Villiers watches on. Oh, 4 cars battling it out. out. This is going to be very close into turn one. Who's going to make it stick?
Yeah, here we go then, side by side, coming down to Cape Town Corner for 12 minutes left to go, and it is going to be a fairly easy manoeuvre, but again, later on the brakes, that was very confident from Villiers, but
Shedid will slot in once again, and who's going to go into turn one? It looks like Jacobs has got turn two though. Jacobs has got turn two lined up. Yes, he does. Jacobs makes it stick down the inside. This could change the entire game. Yeah, the applause now due for Tiaan van Rooyen over there as he crosses the line in first place, 1.5 seconds clear of Carstens. Behind that is Martin Jacobs. The lights are about to go out. The conversation has to stop as we go racing, ladies and gentlemen. 15 cars reverse grid. The lights go out. Oh my goodness. Second place man just gets missed over there.
It's, oh my lord, that's one Niekert getting hit into there. I think that might have been Villiers that was involved as well. This is exactly what I mean. Faster drivers trying to charge their way through. They don't get to play dice.
And it almost looked like a bit of a hand gesture there from De Villiers. Oh, a touch! De Villiers is off! De Villiers is off! And that's not a place you want to have contact at all. Coming through the kink over there, De Villiers gets tagged. And look as he tumbles his way down the order.
But here comes your race leader here, Ernest, Martin Jacobs.
Martin Jacobs across the line. He is going to be absolutely ecstatic about this. And there you have it, round one and what it looked like. And as you can see, lots and lots of close racing action, a couple of thrills and spills there. But as spectators and fans of the sport, we do love to see a little bit of argy-bargy. But I'm going through the comments here, and already someone says, let's take it easy on the first lap, guys, says Vickersberger, because we did see some incidents where the guys did Zwartkops last week. There were a couple of incidents into corner one, and they're going to have to make sure they make those first couple corners count, stay in the game, because the season is long, Dave, as you can see on your screen right now.
Yeah, 100%, and there's a lot of TBCs. As we alluded to previously, the organisers have decided to give another look to the entire order of the championship. They want to make sure that it is the best possible tracks and the best possible championship that is on offer for the drivers. So the dates stay the same, but we're going to figure out very quickly where those the races are going to be, as I think the servers just switched over to qualifying, so we can switch over
let's have a look.
Just a couple of minutes time for you, Ernest.
Let's have a look. I am so excited to see how this qualifying goes, because now everybody's got the chance to have a bit of a do-over. Let's get those practice sessions in, jump onto the sim, jump onto the server with those very specific server settings. And this time the guys will have to deal with all sorts of variables versus playing offline for sure. I mean, one of the things I noticed when I jumped on the server the other day was the way the tires warmed up, and that means each driver won't necessarily have the fastest times at the start of the session, but certainly after 2 or 3 laps. As you can see there, that's a Brandon Robert there slipping and sliding his way through turn 2.
Yeah, as he makes his way through here at Zwartkops, obviously a beautiful circuit. It's a lovely clear day here in Assetto Corsa, 2.5 kilometres, or the best part of it. It's a 10-minute qualifying session that you're going to see here, but again, we're watching Brandon Robert come out. You're not going to see any meaningful times coming up until at least a couple of minutes in there. I was thinking about why do we have a yellow flag there, but it does look like we had a car just making its way off of the side. I think that was possibly, actually, it might have been Dewald O'Reilly there. I think that was the 125, but we'll double check. But time's coming in nonetheless. The car's going back into pit lane, and again, I'm wondering how we're going to see this play out. We saw that it was really important to get up into that top 5, top 10 through this qualifying session, as that was a big drift there, and coming out of that final corner.
Yeah, it's super important to get up ahead as much as possible. You don't want to get stuck in the mid-pack and have to deal with all those sort of mid-pack things. Dewald O'Reilly, you mentioned early on, 32 years old, 2 to 3 years iRacing experience, mostly on Assetto Corsa and Automobilista. He's interested in improving his sim skills in the real-world environment, which of course is what this competition and championship is all about, getting opportunities for some of these drivers. We see the 222 now on your screen, Dewald O'Reilly, and I just love the fact that we've now got sector times, because as as qualifying winds down, David, these sector times are going to prove very, very important in those closing minutes.
Yeah, and it's something I'm going to have to be very careful with tonight, Ernest, because I've got so many new toys that I can play with tonight here. It's unreal. For instance, we can watch the Walter O'Reilly, but we can also see what it's like on board with him, because he does have that 99 car just in front of him. But you're seeing here, actually, all of the times coming in thick and fast. So we're already down to the 110s. I think we'll be down to possibly the 109s and the 108s very quickly.
Pretty soon. 107 was the ultimate high 107s. I think is about the ultimate pace that we will hopefully see here today. And let's look at those names. Elric Enslin did fantastically well at Zwartkops at the previous iteration. An insane combatant, and for some other reason I thought Elric Enslin had real world experience, but he is striving towards that. But he has got so much sim experience, arguably one of the most experienced sim racers on the grid at the moment, with multiple championships under his belt. So Elric Enslin is certainly one of my guys to watch today. And, it's getting messy out there.
Oh, it certainly is. Sorry for chuckling away there, but I mean, this is qualifying, guys and girls. This is not a contact sport, but you would never ever have guessed that. You're seeing here though, Hein van Niekerk, who now puts in purple sector 1. He goes up top of the times there. So again, very, very impressive to see that going in 109.014. But also Oratile Motsuagosele in second position, just 0.6 of a second. So it shows just how close it is already. And we've got, what's that, 5 cars within a second.
It's changing so fast. You just mentioned earlier on Hein van Niekerk, currently 5th in the championship. Chris Carsten, who is now currently atop the standings, he is 6th in the championship. So these familiar names are now starting to bubble their way to the top, and this is what we've come to expect as we now head into the second round of the championship. But still 5 minutes of qualifying left.
Yeah, and of course what we've got to think about is, our championship order to a certain extent. But as I said earlier, it's not really going to matter all that much at this early stage of the championship for sure. So again, 5 minutes left to go here. I think we're going to see mid 108s, possibly even low 108s. I don't think we're going to get any faster than that, but I've been proved wrong before. There we go, yeah, 108.6 already, Hein van Niekerk. We saw Van Niekerk was absolutely on it through the course of the session there. But again, I'm just looking down through outside the top 10 there. Even down to, say, Scott Sanders in 23rd, 111.9. So that's like 3 seconds. I'd be well off that pace, if I'm honest.
Look, I think these guys are going to bring it closer and closer together, but we did see the last time there are some drivers that are in the 110s, 111s, high 111s, but for the most part the spread is between 108 and 109. But that doesn't mean that you're even going to have a sniff at the top 10. I mean, you look at Jason at the moment there with a 109.5, and he is your top 10 driver right now. So the top 10 at the moment separated by less than a second, 9/10 of a second or thereabouts, as they now head into the final 4 minutes of qualifying. We're going to see that time chopped and chopped and chopped as these drivers all vie for position. And the last time, David, it wasn't over until it was over.
Not exactly. We saw so many changes, and there 108.5 for Van Niekerk, but DeWald O'Reilly enters back immediately with a 68.575, so we now get even closer with just 7/100ths of a second on that one. That is mighty close with the action that's going on. This is just going to be awesome. Just very quickly as well, good evening to Robin Williams, to Gail T, to Levitus GT. You've got quite the fan club with you this week here, Ernest. I'm loving this.
Yeah, no, well, not just me. You know that they call you the accent, right?
I was going to put that on the graphic, but I thought that might not go down well with my ego.
No, it's fine, because you're not allowed to give yourself a nickname, but if somebody else gives it, So the accent, I am joined by the accent, but someone that's joined the fray here as well is Troy Dolenchek, who's now currently finds himself in third place, just a tenth of a second behind second place man with de Villiers Bester, another tenth further back in fourth place, Elric Enslen, also in the 108.7s, and just look at that, now we're starting to see those purple sectors popping up.
Yeah, for sure, and there we go. This is literally what I was just about to say here, was obviously we had a sneak peek at this with last week. We had our first running of round 2 and we had to abandon that due to technical issues and obviously rerunning it tonight. Troy Dolenchek is the man on a mission right now. He's the one that we really have to watch here because he was firing on all cylinders. That really should be something for a lot of the other drivers to be very wary of. But again, look at the times. The fact that we have got the top 16 cars here separated by just over a second, that is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd stuff going on here.
Troy Dolenchek, your Formula Ford 1600 national champion and taking part in the MSA4 event just a couple of weeks ago at Zwartkops Raceway, qualified right up front on the front row of the grid, had to get forced back due to technical infringement as well, but then fought his way through the field with unbelievable precision. And I think we're going to see something similar here today. If he doesn't get pushed back, of course, because he has shown that he's able to fight his way through, and now he's gone even faster still with a 107.9, the first man now in the 107s. But here comes the traffic. Oh, speaking of traffic, there's a bit of a parking lot going on over there.
That is always going to happen. That's the number 74 just rejoined the track. That's Conrad Reynolds there.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not something that you want to be coming into. And Conrad, one of our I'm trying to think of the polite way to say this, one of our senior drivers that are out there, 51 years of age, and recently new to the world of sim racing, and jumped in with a brand new sort of Mosa setup. So I mean, not taking things by half right now.
No, he's not. And just really the sacrifices made behind the scenes by Conrad Reynolds as well. He's also just got himself a Mazda direct drive and uses sim racing as a competitive motorsport outlet. I think we can all relate to that one.
Oh yeah. It's like for me, when you've got not that much talent, sim racing is a very cost-effective way of expressing yourself out there on trackers. Oh my lord! Now, forgive me, I don't know if I've just had a brain aneurysm here, but Troy Dolenchek 107.992, is that new or has he had that for a while?
That was a lap ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow!
He was the first one in the 107s, and look at that. The gap is almost 2.5 tenths of a second to de Villiers Bester. Elric Enslen now finds himself in the top 3. We've got 8.765 seconds left of qualifying. So now, David Christie, is when we start to see who can take it to Troy and who can try and put their car on the front row of the grid. So far, Troy on another purple sector.
Oh, this is incredible stuff. Let's go on board then with Troy and see how he can do. He's going to come through into Sector 2, as you said, purple in Sector 1, getting a tiny little bit of toe, but he's slightly slower, just 3/100 slower into Sector 2 here. Is de Villiers Bester going to be able to do anything? Alaric Enslen jumping up to P3 at this late stage. So everybody on their final laps just now here. What does Troy Dolenchek have in the tank here? This is what's going to matter here through the final corner. Gets a semi-decent run. I think he's gone quite wide there, but he's going to come across the line. It's certainly going to be a 107. What is it? It's a 107.992. He does marginally improve. That is sensational performance.
Unbelievable consistency there from Troy. Unbelievable performance from Troy. De Villiers is in the pits. Elric Enslen still out there. We can jump on board with Elric Enslen. That would be amazing, and see exactly he stands a chance to beat that time. Now on board with Elric Enslen, it's his final lap. Can he get a little further up the grid? You see the telemetry on the right hand side of his screen there. You can check his throttle and brake inputs. He's got a little bit of traffic. This could be detrimental. Hopefully that car isn't much slower than his. Elric still in third position, 108.3. Now as he makes his way towards the final corner and the end of qualifying, David.
Yeah, here we go then. And he's gone into the pits. Yeah, that's it.
He's
it's done and dusted. So it does look like it's going to be Troy Dolenchek onto pole position there. I'll help us out and pop the results there into the chat for us. But my goodness me, Wow,
Oh,
Ernest. Troy Dolenchek on pole position, De Villiers Bester in second position, Aller Kensland in third, Chris Karsten in fourth, Hein van Niekerk in fifth position, Oratelli Motsuguze in sixth, DeWald O'Reilly in seventh, Tian van Rooyen in eighth position, Jacques Vermeulen in ninth. You've then got Tristan Rosevear in 10th position. That is 8/10 of a second back. Vian Berger and Martin Jacobs on row 6. That's, again, just hundredths of a second back. Daniel Kent and Scott Sanders in 13th and 14th. Jason Gray and Aiton Gation on row 8. James Carter and Christophe Viljoen in row 9 on 17th and 18th. Ryan Pay in 19th. Nusrat Essek in 20th position. Then you've got Jason Mitten and Hein van Tonder in 21st and 22nd. Justin Sletcher and Brandon Robert in 23rd and 24th. Morgan Jacobs and Conrad Reynolds 25th and 26th. Poncho Mimiger rounding out the field in 27th position. Gap from first position to last, 4.150 seconds, and as someone that's brand new to the championship, I don't think that's anything to be scoffed at whatsoever. But we are about 10-15 seconds from going onto the grids, and I don't know about you, Ernest, but I am very, very excited.
Now I'm feeling it right now, man. I tell you what, this is exceptional talent on display. And to see someone like Troy, Ellerik Enslen and the rest of those front runners get the times that they do, it's not easily done, especially in this pressure cooker environment. And now we're heading into the first race of the night, and it's anybody's game. We saw last week, it doesn't matter where you qualify, you get bumped right to the back of the field within one corner. Hopefully that doesn't happen now, but I tell you what, bombing it into those first two corners, of course that on your screen is turn 1 at Zwartkops. It's going to get interesting, that's for sure.
It absolutely is. It really, really is. And I'll be honest, I am so hyped for this. I mean, we saw Troy Dolenchek, the pace that they had previously when we got treated to this. But yeah, my goodness me, this is... I don't know, but again, Alaric Ensign getting pipped at the post there. It'll be interesting to see how that one all pans out. Chris Karsten in there as well, because I think Vian Berger might have got right into it right at the very last. We'll double check, but we'll wait and see on that one. But we've got a couple of minutes to go before the race gets underway, and I don't know about you, but I am very, very hyped to see this one out.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's time to go racing, folks. It's time to go racing for the second round of the MX5 Championship at Zwartkops Raceway. And now we find out which one of these drivers will cross that elusive finish line first. Of course, these MX5s are all evenly matched. It's a spec racing series. The cars are relatively easy to drive at about 90 to 95%. But once you start getting to the last 5%, we've heard feedback from a lot of the drivers that it's actually quite tricky. And it's not the easiest car on the limit, especially when you've got a pack of 29 or so other cars surrounding you. So it is indeed going to get sticky and tricky out there, David Christie. And I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. That's what makes it such a great car here. So we've got about 2 3/4 minutes left to go before we go to trackside. This MX5 Cup car is as standard as you like. It rolls off the same factory that the normal production car does, and then engine gets sealed and then goes off to basically be homologated and also get equalized at the factory. Then it gets fitted with the race stuff, the roll bar, the ECU. So it is as equal can be. There's none of this teams getting to tamper with it or play with it or do cheeky little settings or things. It is a driver's championship, and
Indeed.
It's one of my favorite real life championships. And what I love is that no matter what sim you're in, whether it's Assetto Corsa or iRacing or R Factor or whatever, it is exactly the same. It's true to life in the terms of it's so much fun. It's so enjoyable. It'll punish you, and it's very tricky to get right, but it makes you feel like an absolute rock star, Ernest. And it doesn't take a lot to make that happen behind the wheel, but this makes you feel like you are a fully bona fide race driver.
Indeed, and I think a lot of these drivers are there or on their way to going there, because we've heard a lot of these drivers say their goal, or Attila, for example, his goal is to get into real world racing. Same with Tristan. Dion says he wants to race GT3 cars. Nusrat says he's open to coaching and driver development opportunities, and the list goes on and on and on. And these are all the drivers that find themselves in this championship, which has got very much a developmental side to it, thanks to the guys at Racing Spirit, RDSA, and the rest of the partners and sponsors. So you guys are at the right spot, man. You want to get into motorsport, you want to be more involved in motorsport, as you saw in that epic video, the Racing Spirit video we saw early on. It really is about growing the sport together, and looks like we are about to grow the sport some more by going racing. Let's go.
60 seconds left to go. So the drivers going through their final preparations, final chance to chat about the drivers. Keep an eye on Troy Dolanchek on row 1 with De Villiers Bester. You were also pointing out there Alec Enslin down in 4th position. I would also kind of keep an eye on Hein van Tonder. Very surprised at P24 for qualifying for them. We know the pace that they've got on there. Dan Kent, another one, down in P15. So yeah, very much looking forward to the start of this race. A lot of lessons to be learned. We saw from the first running of this race, the aborted running. Again, I think drivers going to learn their lessons from turn 1 and from lap 1 as well. Just keep it calm. It's a 25-minute race. Let's get going, Ernest.
Yeah, let's go racing. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The lights go red. We are about to go green soon. Here we go, green flag racing, ladies and gentlemen. Into turn 1 we go. Troy Dolanchek chops up the front of the car behind him, De Villiers Bester, as they're going to turn 1 with a huge gap already. We see a couple of cars running wide in the background over there, but the front pack has had a neat start with Troy Dolanchek getting away. The 77 over there slots onto the outside. Alec Enslin, no surprises, they're already in 3rd place. Dewald O'Reilly goes all the way down to 6th, and De Villiers Bester in 2nd position at the moment.
What a start. It's significantly better than we thought it was going to be. Obviously, further down the order, it is just go time for all of these cars here, wanting to wait for the opportunity. We're currently on board. That is going to be the P12 car of Tristan Rosevear right now.
8
and
positions
again,
lost.
Yeah, that is a wild start to the race. I don't think some of these positions are correct here, so we'll keep an eye on that, because obviously with qualifying, some of these cars were a lot further down than it said.
I apologize.
They
8 positions gained for Tristan. But a little bit of argy-bargy there in the mid-pack, not ideal. And let's not give it back, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to see these guys start having fights over there as we go on board with Tiaan van Rooyen there in 8th position. That mid-pack battle is looking absolutely insane. Tiaan van Rooyen leading off over there. Let's see how they go into the first corner once again.
Yeah, here we go. And that is also going to be the number 79 of Martin Jacobs, who is trying to sneak up on the inside there. I think that's also the 39 of Jacques Vermeulen trying to hold off. So the two of them going toe-to-toe right now. Around the outside goes Martin Jacobs, tries to hold it. That is sensational. Sensational
Martin
stuff there.
Jacobs.
Vermeulen, though. Ernest, he is defending
He's not giving up
everything in his life.
I think Vermeulen might have this one. He's got the inside line going into the next corner. Vermeulen down the inside. Someone's going to have to heel. Oh my goodness. Look at Martin Jacobs chopping the nose off of Vermeulen over there. That took full commitment from Jacobs. And I suspect these two won't be, that won't be the end of this battle.
Oh no, 100%, 100%. We're watching now the battle between Dewald O'Reilly and Chris Karsten right now. And you can see just as they got their first lap there, Karsten significantly faster than O'Reilly. But again, you can be as fast as you want. It doesn't matter if you're not going to be able to make that stick.
Dewald O'Reilly runs a little bit wide there now as we go back to the battle further back. That is Oratile over there in the mix in 8th position. Just behind him, Martin Jacobs around the outside goes Martin Jacobs. Now Oratile's got the inside line. The outside line for the next corner. Martin's got the inside, goes for the dive. Who will heel? Oh, they touch. Oratile runs wide. Oratile loses out.
That was so hard to watch. I think actually Oratile making a mistake on the entry into that corner now, and this is what you have to watch out, because you don't only just lose one position, you lose several. That's Dan Kent and Jason Gray also behind, licking their lips, trying to make something happen up here. Meanwhile, we have to cut back up because De Villiers Bester has just got past Hein van Niekerk. Now hang on, Van Niekerk, was he not down in like 24th position? What?
Look at that. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, we're going to have to make him man of the match, and he keeps going on the way he goes. Now look at that jump, 12 positions up to 16th place. And again, I just love the graphics and the information that we're seeing. If you look at the track map there, you can actually see how far Troy Dolenchek is actually ahead of second place while the
he's
rest of the laps
gone.
continue.
He's in a different postcode already. 2.5 seconds as over to the right-hand side. That was Alaric Enslin pulling off. And has Alaric got a problem, actually? Because he was ahead
got
of...
a problem. Got a problem.
That's very strange.
He's got a problem. Something's gone badly wrong there. That must be a technical issue. He's still got the inside line of the 94 Hein van Niekerk, and Alaric now slots once again into third place, and maybe he's back, but I think a bit of a disconnect on one of his devices or something technical, as I think he is still struggling. The pace doesn't seem to be quite back yet, or is it? I'm not sure there.
Yeah, that's a strange one. Tries to sneak it up the inside, but that's never ever going to happen. One of the other things that I really like about this new setup that we've got, Ernest, is we can give some love to some of the drivers outside of the top 10. We will in a minute, because look at how much pressure is going on from Hein van Niekerk onto the back of Alaric Enslin right now. But as I said, the fact that we're able to have a look at some of the drivers further down, like Brandon Robert, we've got Nusrat Esic and Morgan Jacobs, one of our female drivers out there, has made up a position as well.
Oh, lovely. She's from Pablo Clark Racing, and they've got their program where they develop young talent. And Morgan has joined the sim racing community, quite new to the sim racing community, if I'm not mistaken. And she will be going through Pablo Clark Racing and doing various forms of motorsport, including this one.
And it's such a fantastic tool. It's such a fantastic addition. The bar has been raised, Ernest, with sim racing now, because a lot of these drivers, maybe say 10 to 15 years ago, were just expected to be fast. Now you need to be fast. Now you need to be good at marketing yourself. Now you need to be able to read telemetry data and find out exactly where you're going wrong here. So this getting into the sim and doing lap after lap after lap, that's where the consistency comes in. That's where you learn to hone your craft. But talking about honing craft, have a look at Jason Gray. He fancies a bit of Daniel Kent right now. Can't quite make it happen into the second last. Kent goes deep though.
Beautiful switchback there. Beautiful switchback from Jason Gray. Jason Gray, of course, having competed in the 80K Pro Series many years back. Lots and lots of experience here. So side by side they go now. Let's go on board with Jason. Look at those throttle and brake inputs. Hard on the brakes for the left-hander. Oh, that was close. Almost a nudge there. And the lap restarts once again with Jason Gray slotting behind Daniel Kent. Daniel Kent lives to fight another corner.
Yeah, and I've got to say, 18 minutes left. I don't care, 6 minutes is gone, that's fine. I'm really happy with the condition of this race. Nowhere near as chaotic or as difficult as we thought it was going to be. Drivers very much showing what we saw in round one at Killarney here at Ernest. Some excellent racecraft, waiting to make the opportunities, waiting to try and get a proper go of things. And watch as I say that somebody get punted off into the kitty litter. But either way, I've been very much enjoying this. We cut back to the battle in for P5 and P6. DeWaldo O'Reilly trying to fight off Tian van Rooyen. But again, how often do we see this? You're fighting one car and then suddenly you're thrown backwards into another car. That's Martin Jacobs that's up into P7 trying to make a move on the inside there, that number 79 car. No room at the end for just now, as we have got just over 17 minutes left to go, as Troy Dolenchek has decided that I think he's decided to send himself off via airmail right now.
Yeah, he's checked out while the rest of the field is left to battle, and that battle continues here with Tian van Rooyen and Martin Jacobs. Martin Jacobs has had great success in the series so far, fancies himself a leader of this race, I'm sure, and someone that wants to be further up the field, but he's got to get through Tian van Rooyen first. And Tian, of course, dealing with Zwartkops, O'Reilly, Chris Carsten in the mix there, Jacques Vermeulen. And if you look at the gaps on the side over here, David, these gaps are tiny between these cars. And speaking of tiny gaps, this one might be the smallest so far. Oh no, off the circuit goes Tristan Drozovier, but doesn't lose much time doing so.
Oh, he was pushing very hard, and the thing is that unsettles the car just in front. So that is going to be the P12 car of Jason Gray, and that is going to be like taking candy from a baby. But have a look at Vian Berger in the mirrors as well. That car looking very menacing indeed. Beautiful switchback there from the number 29 car to make things happen, and that, of course, Jason Gray trying to make it. This is awesome, the fact that we can spend as much time on the midfield here, because this is where the party is happening right now.
100%. They've got their own little private party going on over here. That is Tristan over there, followed by Jason Gray, Vian Berger, Ryan Pay, who's led races in the past before. As we go on board with Ryan Pay, he fancies looking ahead here and thinking to himself, someone's going to make a mistake. And Ryan Pay certainly is ready to pounce. And just look at some of the progress some of these drivers have made. They've qualified low down at 23rd for Martin Jacobs, for example, but is now up to 7th position and now finds himself in a bit of a fight.
Oh, this is an awesome battle. Dewald O'Reilly, Tian Van Rooyen and Martin Jacobs all fighting out for 5th, 6th and 7th, and that's contact. That's going to be Tian Van Rooyen, sent straight to the scene of the accident, spins the car 360 around. Let's see if we can pick him up. He gets going again there, but that was absolute contact from the back end there of Martin Jacobs there. I don't think there was any intent there. It was obviously just got caught out with the pace of the car. But I tell you what, I think the air inside that cockpit of Tian Van Rooyen might be a little bit blue at the moment.
Tian now getting harassed by the rest of the pack, but fortunately, he managed to spin out of the way of traffic, and the incident was basically just between him and the asphalt, or the tarmac, as they say. So I think that was a best case scenario there for him. Now he's back in the race as we see the 222 car over there of Dewald O'Reilly getting very slippy into the hairpin over there. What will happen next now as Martin Jacobs starts to pounce?
Oh man, this is just mega stuff. Jacobs is on the prowl. He's on the hunt right now. We'll go on board with him. He's looking at Dewald O'Reilly. Is it going to be a move up the inside? No, it's not. Chris Karsten also fancies a little bit here then. So we have got a proper three-way battle as we go on board with Martin Jacobs and with Chris Karsten, as well as look up the inside there. Beautiful box office seats here for Chris Karsten, and you can see the pace that Martin Jacobs has on the last lap there is it's just not up to speed. Karsten has the speed to get past this very quickly indeed, but again he's also got Dewald O'Reilly to get ahead of.
You can see Karsten's got that concertina effect on his side. He's got the pace to be able to give these guys a hard time, to give Martin Jacobs a hard time, but at the same time, if he gets involved with this battle in front here, it could cost him. So he's watching Martin, he's watching Dewald, waiting for an opportunity. As you can see, Martin is not holding back on Dewald O'Reilly, and Chris Karsten is just looking at this, rubbing his hands together, waiting for an opportunity. And we've seen these guys pounce on opportunities in the most effective of ways. I suspect we're going to be seeing a lot more of that over the course of tonight. Still this round left, the heat left, and then the next heat 2 of the night still to come.
Yeah, and you can see here from the battle on the main screen, that was almost a carbon copy to Dewald O'Reilly, almost again sent straight as we go 3 wide. Of course, let's go 3 wide down the back stretch here. What's going to happen? You're kidding me. There's no way Chris Karsten has just taken the pair of them right now, as that's going to try and send it to the inside. That is the move of the night right now from that number 77 of Chris Karsten. Sensational to have that race awareness to absolutely get that done.
Unbelievable move from Chris Karsten. Let's play through that again. I mean, in our minds, if we can. Chris Karsten saw the opportunity, went down the inside, watched the car in front of him go for an overtaking maneuver, then decides to overtake them both, pulls it off without touching anybody, and now finds himself ahead of that pack. He's got the pace. Can he get away though? As we hop on board with Dewald O'Reilly now in 7th position.
Oh man, that was just, honestly, I cannot get that image out of my head of those two fighting it out, and then straight out of nowhere, here comes Chris Karsten, very opportunistic. The issue with that is now 12.5 minutes. Can he make a breakaway now and try and catch up with Hein van Niekerk, who I still refuse to believe is up into 4th position? There is no way on God's green earth that has just happened. That is 12 positions that he has managed to get up. I think he was even further down. I'm sure he was shown as P24, but either way, was expecting big things from him tonight. I said that on the run up to the race, and that's exactly what we got here. So yeah, awesome action in the top 10. The outside the top 10 has kind of calmed down a little bit. Jason Gray fighting off Tian Van Rooyen. Van Rooyen looks like possibly nursing some damage and making his recovery drive, as Chris Karsten still coming under real pressure now as they start another lap here from Martin Jacobs and Dewald O'Reilly.
So Chris Karsten hasn't been able to get away, David, and that is an interesting fact. He had the pace when he was behind, but now all of a sudden at the head of the pack, and look at the pack growing in size. You've now got 5 cars within spitting distance of one another, with Chris Carsten leading that little troop of cars. Martin Jacobs behind him, Walter Riley, Jacques Vermeulen in the mix, and Oretile just a half a second after that mistake we saw early on, still in the fight. And anything can happen with 11 minutes to go. It's early days, just biding their time, waiting for an opportunity.
Oh, and talking of an opportunity, Martin Jacobs is chomping at the bit. He wants that position back from Chris Carsten. Maybe feels like he was robbed a little bit there, but he's going to have to watch out as well, because Walter Riley just behind him in that 222 machine. I'll be honest, this is really difficult, because obviously we've got lots of other cars out there on track. But how are we supposed to avoid watching this? How are we supposed to take our eyes away from this here, Ernest?
Yeah, these guys are very much concertinaed, close together. We go on board now with Martin Jacobs in 6th position, looking up at 5th. He's going down the inside. Oh, he pulls it off the 77, can't turn in. And Chris Carsten is forced wide. And Chris Carsten getting a little bit of his own medicine there, a little bit of the old, it wasn't the hip and shoulder, but it certainly was elbows out.
Oh, but here he goes. He's got the run side by side. It's going to be into the right-hander. That's going to hand the inside line to Martin Jacobs. Of the late breakers. No way did he try and do that. Tries to keep the foot in, but just does not have the pace. He'll now become very, very vulnerable now to Walter Riley, who might fancy having a little look. Walter Riley sent it up the inside early on the brakes. I noticed that Martin Jacobs is much later on the brakes. They're side by side though, another inside line, and that is going to be signed, sealed, delivered, place returned for Walter Riley. But hang on, wasn't quite finished yet. It is now.
It just shows you Chris Carsten really compromised himself going into that section over there and paid the ultimate price. Oh, someone's off on the side of the circuit. That's Martin Jacobs. Oh my goodness, is that? No, it's not. Who is that?
I think that might be one of the lapped cars. Yeah, that was the Nurat Esat.
Okay. Yeah, he was just moving over to give the guys.
Oh, but that isn't contact. That's contact up in front. That looked like Walter Riley and Chris Carsten coming into each other. We just got a little a glimpse of it. Carsten lost control coming out of that final corner, and the 77 just tagged the number 222 of Walter Riley. So chaos with 10 minutes left to go here, and that means that Martin Jacobs is off scot-free and into 5th position.
Not the ending we wanted to see to that battle, David, but that's the ending we got. And certainly when it comes to the rest of the field over there, they're breathing a sigh of relief, because Chris Carsten was not going to let those positions go. That's for sure. We've been watching him fight it out all evening long as Troy Dolenschek runs a little bit wide off onto the dirt there. Behind him now, De Villiers Bester 5 seconds down. Elric Ensel a further 2.5 seconds back. Hein van Niekerk in 4th place. And Martin Jacobs with a nice comfortable gap now between him and Jacques Vermeulen, 2 seconds. Oretile, though, is 2/10 behind and fighting with 6th place.
And that's the awesome thing about this as we go on board. Beautiful switch to the inside there. Tries to defend the move to Jacques Vermeulen, but this is a sensational battle. And the thing is, from the looks of this has been raging on for quite some time now, because the two of them, I mean, look at that last lap there, the last 4 laps actually from, I mean, yeah, P7 has that.
3/10 in it. Well, you got to give it to them for consistency, that's for sure. Oretile with still a 3/10 gap now behind Jacques Vermeulen. Jacques Vermeulen will be looking to maintain that 6th position. Oretile is definitely going to have something to say about that. Oh, look at that on-screen graphic there. What is this, Formula One, David?
Listen, we've got to spoil you and our viewers at home. Yeah, listen, I just got this set up last night, and I was up very late, and it was just, I was like a kid at Christmas with all these new toys. And for me as well, like the series and championship takes itself very, very seriously. It takes the drivers very seriously, and I'm just glad and really, really happy that we can put lots of bells and whistles on this to make it look as good as it is. Because let's face it, we're only showcasing just how good this racing is here.
Yeah, lots and lots of good close racing with not many incidents to speak of as we now go on board once again with Jacques Vermeulen, now Oretile Jacques, and we got Martin Jacobs in the mix there as well. Martin Jacobs and Jacques Vermeulen, Hein van Niekerk, 5/10 apart, half a second apart between 4th and 5th place, one away from that elusive podium position. They've got 6 minutes left, and now these two are fighting for 4th place through the right-hander now into this very tricky, complex section over here. 86, 87, 90, 100 k's an hour now over the curve on the left-hand side. 130 kilometers an hour now towards the hard braking zone, and then it's a left turn on a downhill slope. Make the exit nice and wide, and across the line they go once again. Still half a second in it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this lap here. It's so deceptively difficult. We look at the track map up at the top right. It reminds me of a very
simple,
fast track, like say Brands Hatch Indy or
kind of looks like
very close.
Looks
to
like
that.
Brands Hatch Indy, yeah.
But the problem with that is that there's a lot of high speed corners. It's all about rhythm. It's all about momentum. And as a racing driver yourself, Ernest, and as a driving coach, you know how vitally important keeping that momentum is. And when you're stuck in a packer, when you're trying to make an overtake and you lose some of that momentum, it's like a death sentence for you.
Yeah. We saw that with Carsten earlier on when he had that incident. As soon as you make a mistake, you get swarmed by the rest of these cars. They're such momentum cars, these, that any mistake made by your opponent can be capitalized on, and thus any mistake made by you will be paid for. So I think it's one of those cars that you've got to maintain that momentum. And also the braking zones on your often uphill, downhill, the turning zones are really much off camber, over the curbs, lining it up. It's a very deceptively tricky circuit as we now go with Jason Gray in the 29 car being strongly harassed by Scott Sanders there. Just half a second in it. Ryan Pay finally coming into view over there. Nice to see his name up on the grid. And as we chatted in the chat over there, top 15 drivers will get reversed. So if you're in 15th position like Ryan Pay, you can end up on pole for the next race.
Yeah, this is really, really intense battling. That's actually, I believe, going to be 14th and 13th. So that's Jason Gray and Scott Sanders, who are knocking lumps out of each other right now as we go and watch them. They are trading paint, going side by side.
Can we go on board with Ryan Pay? I'd love to see this from his bumper can view. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Scott Sanders.
Ask and you shall receive.
Scott Sanders and Jason Gray in front of us right now.
Oh my God. Ernest, look at that fastest lap from Troy Dolenchek. 1:07.7. That's faster than his qualifying time.
1:07.7. Those tires are obviously coming into play now, and Troy Dolenchek stomping his authority. I would say stamping, but he is stomping it with a 6-second lead so far, and still 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes to go as we jump on board now watching Jason. We just jumped off now with that three-way battle. Ryan Pay, the car at the back of that trailer, but now all of a sudden Ryan Pay finds himself being harassed by the car behind him.
Yeah, that's Chris Carson trying to make a recovery drive, goes deep. That's not Chris Carson making a mistake. He's done that consistently. That's his line around that corner. He feels like he gets a better exit out of the corner there. And yeah, I think he does really well with that. As we switch back up to the battle for P4. Are we going to see anything in the final 3.5 minutes here? Hein van Niekerk under still real consistent pressure here from Martin Jacobs, and as they make their way past a lapped car there.
Oh, bit of a sideways moment there by Martin Jacobs. That's going to cost him. With these cars, any sort of twitch like that, any sort of sideways momentum does cost you quite a bit of time, and it's difficult to get that time back. So I think Martin Jacobs will, if we stay on board with him, we should see what his last lap is. 108.3 before, 108.9. So 0.6 of a second down on his previous lap. Not ideal for him, especially since the time is running out to get that last position back.
Yeah, 100%. And as we've got 2 3/4 minutes left to go, listen, we have to give a massive shout out to Move, the mod maker of the map here. I mean, it's just such an awesome version of Zwartkops, and also made all of the changes that we needed to get more than the 24 cars I think that it was set up for. Added extra pit boxes and things like that for us to be able to race here tonight. So huge thank you, huge love to Move. Thanks for supporting the series, thanks for helping us out, and we love you long time.
Lots of support, and that's how motorsport works. It takes a lot of cogs in the machine to make this machine work, and so far so good. I'm loving what we're able to put together tonight. It is really, for me, a special race so far. We've got dominance by Troy Dolenchek. We've got battles all over the place. We've got these incredible graphics on screen. Of course, our sponsors are making this possible as we now get on board with Martin Jacobs, just 0.2 of a second or less behind Hein van Niekerk. He's going to go around the outside. This is his final opportunity. The switchback wasn't going to work there. There was still a little bit, they were a little too close for that switchback to take place, but Martin Jacobs is not going to give up on that 4th place right in front of him.
Oh my life, this, you just get the feeling, Ernest, don't you? You just get the feeling that something is about to kick off with these two, the 4th and 5th position battle. We've only got a minute left. We will spend the final lap talking about Troy Dolenchek and the dominant performance he's had, but it's difficult to look away because here comes Martin Jacobs, tries to send it up the inside early on the brakes. That was a mistake there from Hein van Niekerk, going deep into the corner. That's going to hand it like Christmas Day to Martin Jacobs, but to be fair to Hein van Niekerk, tries to keep the foot in. He has at least a little panel alongside. He might actually still have this coming in. There's going to be contact onto the corner. There was not. That was excellent. Okay, on the exit of the corner there was contact. Fair enough, boys. That'll do it. This is what you want to see from MX5 Racing. Door to door, wheel to wheel racing with just 30 seconds left to go in the race.
30 seconds left. They are side by side, corner to corner, and it's staying that way. Who will take it as they make their way now up the hill towards the sweep? The inside line has the advantage. The gap now less than 9/100ths of a second between them. Martin Jacobs in 5th place, Hein van Niekerk in 4th position. It's now coming up to the sweeper. It's the final 10 seconds of the race. Who will take this one? Martin Jacobs slots in behind once again. He's only got a couple corners left to make it stick. He's going to try again to line it up on the outside. Can he make it happen? Into the complex they go. This is exciting stuff, David.
But there's a cutback. There's a cutback. He thought about it, but we'll have to come back to them because out the final corner then, it's been an absolutely dominant performance to take the win. Troy Dolenchek comes across the line, starting in pole position. You can ignore the starting position there. We will come back to that because here is Alaric Enslin and Hein van Niekerk. It's going to be De Villiers Bester in 2nd position. Alaric Enslin is going to finish in 3rd. Conrad Reynolds is going to be in 4th position. Hein van Niekerk in 4th position, and Martin Jacobs is going to finish in 5th. What a fight we had down to there.
I feel like giving these guys a round of applause, man. That was
awesome.
Incredible stuff. That battle for 4th place, that will go down in the history books. That's going to make it into the highlights package for next time, for sure. These guys were side by side at some of the most difficult corners in all of South African motorsport, and they managed to keep it clean and tidy, bar the odd nudge and scrape there. But in the words of the gentleman from Days of Thunder, rubbing is after all racing, and nothing wrong with a little rubbing on the main straight.
Well, exactly. You cannot say anything more about that. But confirmation then, Ryan Pay is going to be your pole sitter for race number 2 then. With Chris Karsten alongside him, Vian Berger up there as well. So Scott Sanders and then Oratile is going to be on row 3 as well. So very, very much looking forward to this second race. But what a race for Troy Dolenchek. I mean, we have to talk about that as we head back to decipher what we just saw in that first race. Ernest, listen, I think that was even better than we had in round 1 for race 1 and 2. Close racing, very respectful racing though tonight.
Yeah. Side by side for almost a complete lap. says Tristan de Nobrega. Well done to all the drivers, says Vickersburg, and I can agree with that one. Nice, clean racing over there. Heinrich says, go de Villiers. So, man, what a clean race by these guys. And that's what we've come to see. The level is certainly going up. And I've seen this in championships before, David. Maybe you can comment. You see the level increase as the season wears on. You see familiar names at the front at the beginning of the season. Then all of a sudden you start seeing other names starting to make their way further and further up the totem pole. And today, I think we saw a bit of a level up from some of these drivers with their ability to be able to stay side by side with the competitors.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And listen, what I loved about that as well is the fact that anybody outside the top 20 could easily be in a position to be in a fantastic race too. That was what I loved about that. You know, we now see, as we said, that we're going to have Ryan Pay on pole position for that second race. Obviously, now what's going to happen is we've got a couple of minutes that we can decipher about things. The guys get a 5 minute countdown between the next race here. But Troy Dolenchek, I mean, what on earth? What on earth what can we say about that?
Is there anybody in South African sim racing that can beat him? That's really the question we got to ask. And at the moment, specifically on this circuit, at the moment, there isn't. Not that I know of. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of people watching this stream right now going, I can do it. And we then cordially invite you to come and try, because I would love to see someone take the fight to Troy Dolenchek. And Tristan made an interesting point that about dominance in the sport, and how Tristan is, of course, being dominant now, but also shaping the future for other drivers out there to compete against him.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got junior drivers like Morgan Jacobs that are working their way up through sim racing. And then Ponshaw as well. And, you know, you're now sharing the tarmac with one of the best in the country on and off the sim. So I think it's going to be an interesting season, and I'm hoping that there will be guys that come in and challenge Troy, like Cody Sherritt. I'd love to see Cody come back and try again. He was with us round one, did exceptionally well, was very competitive at the Killarney round. So I'm looking forward to seeing if he comes back later in the season. But yeah, man, what a dominant performance.
It was, but what we saw from Killarney at round one is that drivers, you know, who win the first race don't always get it their own way in this second race, because they're at the back. So because he's in 15th position, he's got to fight his way through. But we've got 3 minutes left to go before we go into the race, so we can talk our way through the grid here. So obviously we can see on board with Ryan Pay in pole position, Chris Karsten. What a view that he's got
Chris
in front
Karsten.
of him. Yeah, because
Chris Karsten is going to be the guy to watch at the start of this race. Chris Karsten or Retile, both of them have incredible pace, and they find themselves in the top 5 of the reverse grid. So you're going to be in between drivers that aren't quite as quick as you, maybe in a 1 lap pace, certainly, but not over the course of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 laps. So if you're looking at Chris Karsten, as you are now on board with him, and he's looking around the screen over here trying to see what's going on, I think Chris Karsten is going to have a sensational start to the first couple of laps. Let's see if I'm right or not, but he, in my mind, is the person to watch as we take a walk down the pit lane. So let's go through some of these drivers. We got Vian Berg in 3rd place, Scott Sanders in 4th position, Oratile over there in 5th position. Then behind Oratile, we've got Tristan Rosavera. Then we've got Tian van Rooyen. Tian also exceptionally fast in that 125 car there, showing us that he is ready to go. Behind that is Dewald O'Reilly in the 222, a car that we've seen on screen many times. Behind that, Daniel Kent, who now finds himself in the top 10. Jacques Vermeulen rounds off the top 10 as we go further down with Martin Jacobs, another familiar face on this grid, someone that we've seen in battles over and over. Same goes for Hein van Niekerk, Ellerik Enselen, and of course those guys find themselves at the back of that top 15 leaderboard because they found themselves in the top 5 earlier on. Then, of course, Troy Dolenchek, who is your race winner, and he now finds himself all the way down in 15th position with 14 MX5s identical to his own, trying to stop him from winning this race.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna lie. This is a new thing for me. Being a virtual cameraman, walking down the virtual grid. I wonder if this counts towards my daily steps.
Yeah, it might. That's straight is pretty long if you're going to walk it. And I have to say, David, as someone that's involved with this type of production, in the real world, you are doing like 8 jobs at the moment. So thank you for that. Put the camera down now.
I was waiting to say, I just went back to the menu there just to make sure that this car at the back isn't me. That's Devon Heyman in the 27 car. But anyway, 50 seconds left to go here. We'll jump back to the grids. And obviously, how important is this view here for Ryan Pay, having nobody in front of him here, Ernest?
Yeah. Absolutely nobody in front of him. Ryan Pay's got everything to play for. Chris Carsten in second place. Let's watch those top 2. Ryan Pay will be on the left-hand side of your screen at the moment because you will line up for the second corner and have the advantage and the inside line. On the right-hand side of your screen, you see Chris Carsten's over there, so watch those 2. And just behind them, Vian Berger and Scott Sanders. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 10 seconds.
Here we go then, the lights coming on the starting board just now. We get ready for race number 2 of round 2, the Racing Spirit Mazda MX5 Championship. Green flag flies. We are racing. It's a great start for Payne, but it's also a great start for Chris Carsten. 2 of them side by side into turn 1. Carsten's going to have the inside line. There's bumping and banging further down. There's chaos.
Oratile's dropped all the way down. Oratile's dropped all the way down.
Oratile's
dropped. Oh, big accident. Big accident, lots of cars involved. Oh my goodness, this is going to cause absolute pandemonium. Troy Dolenchek finds himself in 7th position. Martin Jacobs in 8th. Jason Gray, but Vian Berger's all the way down. Oretile is in 24th. Oretile, Daniel Kent is down. Jason Millen is down. Oh my goodness me. And look at that. The champions always find a way, as they say. And Tristan Dolenchek now, Troy Dolenchek, I apologize, finds himself in 7th position. Chris Carsten leads us with Ryan Pay. Slots into 2nd. Scott Sanders in 3rd place.
Yep, possession is 9/10 of the law, and that is exactly what Troy Dolenchek has done here. He has got the whole shot, found a hole through space and time, and just sent that little Mazda MX-5 into it. That's got him already up into P6 just now, as he just takes that position away from Jacques Vermeulen. But again, he's now going to be chasing down Tristan Rosevear, Tian Van Rooyen, who is going to want to absolutely cause havoc right now and get his position back, because he had that race stolen away from him with contact. Meanwhile, Martin Jacobs, who was not on the best side of contact earlier on, is together with Jacques Vermeulen, and I wonder if Tian Van Rooyen is possibly going to see that car in his mirrors. Oh, contact there from Vermeulen.
Yeah, Vermeulen and Martin Jacobs, looks like it, having a bit of a ding-dong battle over there. Troy Dolenchek in the mix as well. Is that? Yeah, Troy Dolenchek is 1/10 of a second behind 5th place man. Alaric Enslen is all the way down the order there. So Alaric Enslen unfortunately got off a little bit worse than most. He's not too far down, but certainly not up in the fight. It was an opportunity for some and a disaster for others.
Yep, here we go then. This is Ryan Pay with Tian Van Rooyen. Chris Carsten in the lead, still trying to fight, and there is contact there from Tian Van Rooyen onto the rear quarter of onto Ryan Pay, excuse me. My goodness me, it's almost like you just don't know where to look here.
Yeah, exactly. We go on board now with Scott Sanders. We go on board now with Scott Sanders on the screen over there. Oh, and Tian Van Rooyen, Scott Sanders, Troy Dolenchek, very aggressive driving there from Troy now as he makes his way on the outside. And Troy Dolenchek looks to find his way past. In 5th position at the moment is Troy, and looking up ahead, he sees Scott Sanders, Tian Van Rooyen. Look at that move now around the outside of the 13 car over there, the 13 car. That is Scott Sanders on the outside of Tian Van Rooyen. 3 wide now. 3 wide they go. That 3 does not fit into that corner, or does it? It does.
Oh my God.
It barely does. Oh no, it doesn't. And look at that. That's the disaster. Oh no.
Chaos. And we knew that was going to happen. That is going to be Tian Van Rooyen out of the position then. And look at who sneaks up on the inside. The thing is, Troy Dolenchek sent it up the inside. He wasn't really party to that crash. That was a big moment from the other drivers there. And well, you have to kind of wonder what on earth would have happened then if it wasn't for that. But we've had so many drivers that were going to be contenders for the top 5 already down out of the top 5 here. I've got to be honest, I am not going to put it past Troy Dolenchek to take a second win here.
Yeah, no, I think we can't. I mean, look at that. 2/10 of a second down, your first place man from earlier on. Ryan Pay. Ryan Pay tries to close the door there, driving quite aggressively as they're going to turn one. Now into turn two. Ryan Pay covers the inside line. Troy Dolenchik jigs out, jigs back. Ryan covers the inside line. Now, this is going to give Chris Carstens a bit of an opportunity to get away. No, he sells him. The dummy does Troy Dolenchik. Down the inside he goes, and Troy's got the inside line for the sweeper now. We saw that earlier on. And as I said earlier on, David, the champions find a way, man. The champions find a way. And Troy Dolenchik has found himself back in the top two after a frankly dramatic start to this race, and he managed to avoid all of it.
This has been absolutely wild, and I'm here for every single minute of it whatsoever. I mean, you'd never think that there was 20 minutes left. There's more chaos going on. Jack Vermeulen, Tristan Grosvenor, you've got Martin Jacobs and Hein van Niekerk all deciding to have a little go here, but this is mainly a battle between Vermeulen, Jacobs and Van Niekerk, though. 5th, 6th and 7th position here. So again, what we saw in race one, right, it was almost like 10-15 minutes of calm, of composed driving, and then starting to get moves. We've not had that in race two. It's like race three of a BTCC weekend. It's just all guns blazing.
Absolutely no holds barred racing. Martin Jacobs just 2/10 of a second there behind Jacques Vermeulen as we hop on board with Hein van Niekerk now getting a first front row seat on all of the action. Hein van Niekerk, Martin Jacobs, Jacques Vermeulen, all within a couple of tenths of each other. Tristan just up the road of that as well. Ryan Pay now 1.2 seconds behind Troy, and Troy's countdown is ticking away, down from 3 and a bit seconds now to just about 3 seconds. But let's watch this battle unfold as Hein van Niekerk slots in behind. And look at that train of cars now trying to lose each other in the slipstream. Going defensive now is Jacques Vermeulen. Martin Jacobs down the inside, but here comes Hein. Here comes Hein alongside, squeezes Martin Jacobs wide, and Martin Jacobs is going to have to yield, but he doesn't, and that's the cost. That's the cost. Martin Jacobs does not yield and pays the price.
Yep, and Jacobs then sent backwards and possibly getting a taste of his own medicine. We saw that in race one where he rubbed against the rear ends. I think it was Tian van Rooyen, and took that car out. He is going to be absolutely fizzing. You can see already a bump onto the back of Jason Gray, and that car is going to be absolutely sending it every which way it possibly can. De Villiers Bester in 7th position, and also Jason Gray. Look for some big sends now from Martin Jacobs. You can tell a lot, and this is what I love, Ernest, from sim racing. You can tell a lot from the body language of the driving. Yes, Jacobs is driving very aggressively now. He wants his presence known. You might find some of the drivers just letting him go because they don't want to be in an accident. They know that it's all going to kick off, basically.
It's all going to kick off indeed. Martin Jacobs has been kicking it off. You could tell by the damage on his car. Giving Jason Gray now the look down the inside. De Villiers Bester up ahead as well. And here they go. Down the inside goes Jacobs, and Jacobs gets it. Jacobs gets the position back.
Yeah, I thought Jason Gray was possibly going to have the cutback there as Jacobs, I don't know if he's pressed the wrong button or what, but he's got the hazards going on his car right now. So that's quite a cute little thing on the...
That's the coming through.
Yeah, he's just like, thank you very much for that position. You're so kind.
Yeah, if you look up ahead here, that can't be De Villiers Bester because De Villiers is 2.5 seconds up the road. Oh no, it's not. It is. I apologize. De Villiers Bester is 0.6 of a second up the road. So that is De Villiers Bester up ahead. And just look, I love how you pointed out the body language of the car, David. You can see Martin Jacobs, the body language on that car is aggressive, and he is pushing hard. I love this camera angle as well. He is going to push hard to try and catch up with Bester, who is just 0.6 of a second up ahead.
Yeah, he really wants that position back. He feels very hard done by, and you know, I think he might have a case on that one. But either way, look, racing is racing. It's all fun and games when it goes your way, but it's all tears before bedtime when you're on the wrong side of it. But look at how late on the brakes though Martin Jacobs is at just 0.7 of a second behind that car. You can see the gap there now down to 0.5 of a second there. It updates every couple of seconds there, so you can see that it's almost like Bester gets the better run out of corners as Troy Dolenchik goes fastest again, 108.1, and he is chasing down Karsten at a rate of knots. Now Karsten, I think, is one of the few cars I think that can maybe hold a match, hold a candle to Troy Dolenchik.
Oh, but that gap is dropping, David. The gap was 3 seconds exactly earlier on. It's now 2.3 seconds. And that's 7 tenths of a second in just a couple of minutes. Now, Carsten, as you rightly pointed out, is someone that can hold a candle. If you're looking at about a 1 minute 10 second lap, they still got a good. If my maths is mathsing, about 10 or 11 laps left. So it's going to be sticky business as we watch now Tristan Reservoir on Ryan Pay.
That was too easy. Tristan kind of got handed that one by Ryan as Jacques Vermeulen sets it up the inside as well. So Ryan really struggling, maybe put a little bit too much heat too early into these tyres and taking too much speed. Again, this is what pressure can do to you, Ernest. It's something I've experienced quite a lot. You drive 100%. In your mirrors and suddenly you're all over the place and you're not paying attention to your own driving.
Yeah, it's something I worked on with Claudio Piazzamusso at RDSA, is looking ahead and going next towards the next corner. Speaking of next, they touch. It's so close going to these side-by-side action. And here comes the number 8 as well. It's Ryan Pay, it's Tristan, it's Hein van Niekerk, all within millimeters of each other as they make their way now towards the uphill section. And someone has got to yield. But who will it be? Jacques Vermeulen in third position. So far, so good. Just 5 tenths of a second. We're on board with Tristan now, with Hein van Niekerk alongside.
What?
They made it. They made it through. They made it through. And Ryan Pay follows on as well. Ryan Pay says, I'm going down the inside. I'm going to try and take this position back. He's not going to yield. Ryan Pay could pull the move down the inside. He backs out, thinks better of it. Lets them go. It's not over yet for Ryan Pay.
Wow, Ryan Pay obviously saw that and thought, nah, that's not for me. But look what's happened. Jacques Vermeulen now has dropped them. He's off to the better part of 2 seconds. And now we've got another 4-car battle, because that means that De Villiers Bester has joined in the little party as well and brought along with him Martin Jacobs. So this is a 5-car party going on. 15 minutes left to go as Troy Dolnchek sits in another fastest lap. We'll have to cut to the lead in just a second, because De Villiers Bester putting Ryan Pay under real pressure, and Pay is just going backwards here at a rate of knots, Ernest. Again, I don't know what has happened with that car.
Pay is now currently in 6th place. Martin Jacobs is cracking his knuckles because he can see up ahead here there are cars for the taking, and he is going to want to take them. Here comes Martin Jacobs now as we hop on board with him. He sees the car of Ryan Pay and De Villiers Bester side by side. Martin Jacobs going to have a look down the inside. Can he get the run up the hill? It looks like he might just do exactly that on Ryan Pay. It's so close into the complex now. Here he comes. Martin Jacobs places the car in the position where Ryan Pay cannot close the door, and Ryan Pay gets forced back as Martin Jacobs takes 7th position. Ryan Pay's still there though. Ryan Pay's still there, goes back down the inside. There's a car spun out on the left. Troy Dolnchek sets the fastest time. The action continues as Ryan Pay will not yield through the last left hand onto the main straight.
Oh, and they try to get together there, but that car that was off facing the wrong way, that was the 27th place car. That was Morgan Jacobs, who has unfortunately stalled that car. I think they have got going again, so that's fine for Morgan. Great to see that, as that was a big moment for Martin Jacobs. Unbelievable.
That's ended it. That's ended it for him though. But that's ended that battle for him as we now cut to the front of the pack. Troy Dolnchek, half a second behind Chris Carsten. Chris Carsten had it all his way for a couple of minutes, but now that gap has come and gone. And Troy Dolnchek looking at that lead, and he thinks that lead belongs to him. Will Chris Carsten have something to say about it? It's not over till it's over.
No, exactly. And this has just been awesome stuff here with the lead very likely going to come under pressure very quickly indeed, because here is Troy Dolnchek, as we've said, will go on board with the Racing Spirit number 17. The thing with this as well is that Dolnchek, GT3 competitor in real life, former champion of karting in Formula 1600. He is, just a stalwart on and off the track here. And if anybody's going to show you how to do it, it's going to be Troy Dolnchek.
Yeah, and he's making it look easy now, isn't he? I mean, that was a relatively easy overtake on someone that is exceptionally fast here, someone that I've been watching onboards of all week and last week as well, and noticing his pace. Chris Carstens, that is, and Troy Dolnchek makes easy work. The two of them separating themselves from the pack by almost 10 seconds. So these two currently in their own little class as Chris gets a little bit too much curb over there, unsettles the car, and Troy Dolenchik smoothly starts to eke out a half a second gap.
Yeah, look, you can see there. I mean, last lap there from Troy Dolenchik, 107.881. That would have been that would have been good enough. As oh my lord, what just happened to Chris Karsten? That was. I wonder if you know. Can you hear me, Tokyo? Because that was a full Tokyo drift round that final corner. Held it in. My days. I need to have a little soundboard that can just play that clip on, because we're going to see a lot of drifting from these MX5s, but I've got to be honest, that was very well held, Ernest. You as a professional drifter as well, you would have been proud of that one, surely.
Yeah, of course. I got to say, as someone that enjoys drifting, I've had it beat out of me by my coaches that, your drifting is for the drift track and not for the racetrack. So
what do they know, Ernest? Come on, style it out, boy. Style it out.
What does my world champion and European karting champion, Claudio, know? But you're right. It is fun, though, when you do pull it off. I have to say, I do smile to myself every now and then when I try and behave myself. But Chris Karsten, I think also he's in a position now where he's got a 9-second lead over the cars behind him. And at the same time, he knows that he hasn't got the pace to take on Troy Dolenchik, certainly not chasing him down. So a bit of a moment like that, maybe smiling inside his helmet, maybe some frustration. We can hear from him later on when the interviews happen, if he does join us. But now we're on board with Ryan Pay, your pole sitter from this race, half a second behind Jason Gray. Jason Gray now 5.9 seconds behind De Villiers best. In fifth place, Elric Enslen has clawed his way back to 8th position. And now let's see, as into the final corner, there's a bit of barging going on. There's Jacques Vermeulen and Dewald O'Reilly. Oh, that was a back marker. Looks
that was Poncho. Come on, that wasn't nice.
That was a nice little give. The old hip. That's the old hip and shoulder over there. As these two now battle it out.
I mean, that was a bit aggressive, to be honest with you. But my goodness me, back to the fight for 7th, 8th, certainly 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th as well. Martin Jacobs. I think that if the air was a little bit blue before, then it's going to be positively. You might need a swear jar in that car, I think, by the end of the evening here. Actually, hang on. What has happened to our leader? What happened to Troy Dolenchik? He was like a second and a half ahead of Chris Karsten.
Something's gone wrong there. Now, Chris Karsten and
Conrad Reynolds as well. He was facing the wrong way on the exit, the final corner.
I've spoken too soon. Maybe Troy Dolenchik had some issues with back markers. Chris Karsten now finds himself within half a second. Maybe Troy has a problem. Maybe he's trying to make it interesting.
Look
but
at
now,
that last lap, Ernest, from Troy. 109. That's like 2 seconds off.
Yeah, that is uncharacteristic from Troy, but it does seem to be that he's picking up the pace once again. You can see that gap on 0.46 seconds. Let's see if it increases. Chris Karsten now suddenly finds himself with a little bit of hope up ahead, as Hein van Niekerk still 10 seconds behind. So clear air behind both of these cars, but I do think Troy's got a problem. Troy does seem to have lost pace all of a sudden, and Chris Karsten now catching up, unless Troy is playing coy and playing some games as well.
Yeah, that could very much be an issue, because he's well within half a second of Dolenchik right now. But the thing is that it could be, once we see that thing go over a second, it could just be that normal service has resumed. I've got a feeling that may very well indeed be the case with that one. But either way, somehow we've missed the fact that we've only got less than 7 or just over 7 minutes to go here. So yeah, this has been an absolute banger of a second race.
Yeah, great to see Elric Enslen back in the mix there in 7th place, as we now hop on board with Martin Jacobs, just 2 tenths behind Elric now, keeping Elric honest as they go through the corner. The 333 car up ahead is Elric Enslen, and Martin Jacobs slot in behind him with Ryan Payne making up the rest of that sandwich. And adding some toppings to that sandwich is Jason Gray just in front over there, as we now look at the total time behind the leader. And just look at those seconds knock. Jason Gray, 19, 20, 20, 21. So all 4 of those cars within striking distance of one another. But the 2 that are battling it out the most, Martin Jacobs, Elric Enslen. Now Martin Jacobs has a look down the bumper of Enslen. He goes around the outside. This could be a move. Elric Enslen then takes the inside line. And what will Martin have to say about this? Martin goes around all the way down the long long way. Will he pull it off side by side? The second side-by-side battle we've seen today so far.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Alaric Enslin still then toe-to-toe with Martin Jacobs. I think going to have to let that one go. Is it going to be a move back to the inside? It is. Is Jacobs going to hold that line? He does into turn one, and that is going to be signed, sealed, delivered, into the final corner. And yeah, that one's going to have to think better of that right now. And well, there you go. Also, any concerns we had about Troy Dolanchek and his pace have absolutely gone as Ryan Pay decides to say hello to Alaric Enslin. That was almost round the inside, turned to the outside, and a little bit of contact saw them with no love lost between those two. But yeah, Dolanchek doing fastest lap of the race, and I think that was a 1:07.7.
Dolanchek is back, and Ryan Pay is back as well, your pole sitter from this second heat, currently in 9th position, giving one of our favourites, one of our tipped drivers to be right in the front, Alaric Enslin, keeping him honest, and Ryan Pay will be looking forward to this battle to make sure that he stays firmly in the top 10 with just 5 minutes left to go of this, our second race of the evening, and an exciting first race with lots of close racing, followed by this incredible side-by-side battles on display, big incidents at the start of the race, and now Ryan Pay, your pole sitter, now 9/10 of a second back. I think Alaric has now slipped out of his grasp, but Alaric Enslin and Martin Jacobs and Jason Gray still going at it.
Well, Ernest, I'm going to give you a box of popcorn here, because we're already getting some of the comments. It's Dolanchek absolutely hanging the rear end of that MX5 around for what it's worth right now. He is pushing as hard as he possibly can be. But one of the comments on YouTube saying, so Troy takes out 2 drivers from the lead so that he can lead. Why 3 wide on a second lap? I think that might be a slightly tilted oversimplification. That's certainly not what I saw. But at the end of the day, again, I don't think that's what happens here. But how many times have we seen it, not just from Troy, but from other drivers going 3 wide? If you feel like you've got the pace, we've seen you cannot afford to hang around on this point. And also, you know, at the end of the day, it's about making your way through the crowds here. And if other drivers feel that it's been unfair, you know, they can send a report in. They can send a complaint in, and it's not like in real life where you have to have GoPro footage, because we are watching. We are adjudicating always.
We've got every single angle at our disposal on that replay, and if there is a discrepancy, of course, the clock of the course will handle that post-haste. So we'll give feedback on that discussion point, fair point to raise, I think. I certainly didn't see anything malicious, but we've got one angle, David, and there are multiple angles, and maybe some new evidence will come to light. Now, back to the action. Jacques Vermeulen and Dewald O'Reilly, just 1/10, less than 1/10 of a second between them. Jacques Vermeulen leads off Dewald O'Reilly right there, with Daniel Kent also looking down the inside now. Here comes Daniel on Dewald. Daniel down the inside. Can he make it stick? He does indeed. So Daniel takes that position, and then in front of him is now Jacques Vermeulen firmly in his sights. Daniel with his car a little tattered and torn over there, but it's going to make it to the end of this race with just 3 minutes to go. It's
fine. Don't worry about it. It'll buff out. You know, these are sturdy machines right now. As that's very late onto the brakes there for Dewald O'Reilly. In fact, actually, look at the pace that he gets.
That's going to cost him.
No 3 wide down the start finish straight. What happened to Jacques Vermeulen on that final corner there?
Yeah, he ran very wide there, David. Very, very wide indeed. And that's opened the door for both cars behind him to take that position back, because the 222 now slots ahead. And that is Dewald O'Reilly, Jacques Vermeulen. Oh my goodness me. It was such a good position to have. And then a mistake all on his own cost him 2 positions.
Yo, this is some fight with 2 minutes left to go in race 2, our final race of this week's action here from Zwartkops, and we are indeed watching Dewald O'Reilly, Jacques Vermeulen, and also Dan Kent trying to make this happen. Here, contact. That was unreal.
Dan Kent, Jacques Vermeulen.
Dan Kent. That was a DDT from outer space on that one, and he stops. He knows what he did on that one. I don't think. Well, I mean, come on, we saw what we saw. We need to get a replay and an on boards. But, oh my life, Dan, you naughty boy.
What have you done? Well, back to the front of the pack. Now, finally, we got ourselves a battle in the top 5 again. Hein van Niekerk, de Villiers Beste with just 1 minute to go. This is for the final podium spot. So far, Troy Dolenschenk has sealed his position on top. Chris Carsten, 4 seconds further back. But Hein van Niekerk and de Villiers Beste now, this is the battle for 3rd place and the final spot of the podium. David Christie, we got 1 minute left of racing.
I'm very, very excited to see how this goes. But just finishing off on that Dan Kent incident there, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys and girls at home. There was a tiny little part of me was like, yes, let the hate flow through you. It's like this anarchist bit of me just kind of wants to see chaos all the time. But anyway, a minute left to go. Yeah, like I think Hein van Niekerk has got a lot of pressure right now. De Villiers Bester has had a lot of pace here, and this is also great point out from Robin Williams on the YouTube chat. Dan immediately stopped. He didn't slow down. He stopped the car. He was wanting to give that position back, and that was a good. Bit
so
of
it wasn't malicious. It wasn't intentional. Unfortunately, these types of things happen. You get too close to the rear of another car and you pit maneuver there, basically, like an American police officer, which I'm sure he wasn't intending to do. He wasn't trying to make any arrests. Troy Dolenschenk, of course, your leader, will arrest this position of 1st place and seal himself a spot on top of the logs for both of our feature races here at the Racing Spirit MX5 Championship. Across the line goes Troy Dolenschenk. Ladies and gentlemen, your double winner tonight. Your winner with the fastest lap times gives us a bit of a slide there. Troy Dolenschenk, now is the time to drift to Troy. And Chris Carsten with a full 9 seconds further back in 3rd position. Hein van Tonder brings up the top 3, looks like it. Yes, he does. De Villiers Beste just behind with 1/10 of a second behind Hein van Niekerk and de Villiers Beste. Unbelievable fight for 3rd place there, and lots of battles down the order.
Yeah, obviously the leaderboard will swap itself about as it gets rid of lapped cars there, but Hein van Tonder going across the line, and what a fight that was there, as we'll see Tien van Rooyen coming across the line. That'll be outside the top, in fact, 10th position. So again, it looks like we lost Jason Gray and Jacques Vermeulen. So Van Rooyen getting a top 10 out of that, I think we'll be very, very happy with that indeed. So again, what can you say? Ooh. That was just an awesome race.
Wow, what a race indeed. David Christie, I have to say, it wasn't as action-packed when it comes to the RG Barge, although the second race did prove, I think the fever sort of built up over the course of the first race to what we got in the second race over here. Troy Dolenschenk fancies himself a bit of a drifter, but the racing was, for the most part, was clean. I would love to see replay of that incident, and certainly of Troy's. Oh, somebody loses it into the pit lane. I'd love to see those incidents replayed, or at least investigated, and we can give some feedback to the community and let them know what happened over there, and if all of the positions will remain as is. But for now, your winner is, of course, Troy Dolenschenk.
Yeah, that was just awesome stuff there, and I think they'll be very, very happy with the results that came in. Either way, I think we can be happy with what we had. That was just a brilliant evening of racing there, and the great thing is obviously I've got the replays, so I can actually nice. I can go and keep that. I can. What would you like to see again?
I would like to see the first incident at the start of race 2.
Oh well, I can see that. So if you want to talk amongst yourselves for just now,
let's talk amongst ourselves for just now.
Incident? What race was it you were wanting to see?
Race 2, the start of race 2. We saw a big incident at the back,
okay.
And. Let's go through some of those comments for now. Robin will need my report tomorrow. That's from Vickersberger. MK5 says, well done, guys. Vic says as well, Tristan, see you guys Saturday on the track. Of course, it's track day Saturday. I'm not in Cape Town, man. Wish I was there. Vickers Burger says, no matter if you compete, respect should never be forgotten. Agreed. Robin Williams says, well done to all the drivers. Vian, or Tristan says, Vian, great recovery. So, guys, keep those comments coming. Let us know what you like to say. And see Gail as popcorn emojis, yeah, and rightly so, because there was lots of action to see here today. And for now, let's quickly go through the existing point standings. Still need to be tallied up for this round, but as we came into this race, Tiaan van Rooyen, Martin Jacobs and Cody Shedid were the top three. Dewald O'Reilly, Hein van Niekerk, Chris Carsten, Daniel Kent, De Villiers Bester, Ryan Pay and Tristan Rosevier made up the top 10. Our winner of this race over here, of both races, was not on the standings. He did not compete at the previous round. So that means that our man in first place, Troy Dolenchek, will now get his points added on, but it might not even be actually, you know what? It will be enough to take the lead because he's won both races, where Tiaan van Rooyen did not. So Troy Dolenchek should be your championship leader unless some of that result gets protested. So we're gonna have to wait and see if anything actually does come off that first lap incident. What do you guys think happened over there? Put it in the comments, or just watch the screen right now to see for yourself. Let's watch.
So let's see here then. So it looks like the 125 goes into the side of the three. So that 125 is Tiaan van Rooyen. And that's then going to be the number 3 of Oratile. And it was Oratile that basically got hit out first. I mean, there's 3 wide. Of course, there's going to be chaos, and then.
So who's that on the side there?
I think that was the 125 of Van Rooyen. So let's pause that a second.
Yeah, let's see if we can have a closer look at
because,
that.
Because Van Rooyen's already spinning round, but then I also think that the number 3 starts spinning round as well.
Yeah. Oh, these camera angles are awesome. So let's watch on and see what happens. Now, you're right. That is Tiaan van Rooyen over there.
Yeah, so
who's that?
3.
That's the 3. That's the 3.
So he's gone by that
lost
point.
It, yeah. Yeah, the 3's lost it over there. That is Oratile. So Oratile loses it, and now the knock-on effect continues.
It's
the
just chaos.
Yeah, is that the 22 or triple two?
Yeah, the 22 that also got caught up in that.
That's the 22. I'm just trying to get that number, that 22. That is Daniel Kent that finds himself in the middle of the track and just causes complete havoc. And now you see these guys denting and dinging each other as they just try to get going again. The 222 is also in the mix there, further back. And now the chaos
just in the middle of all that, right? Somebody just gets absolutely smashed in the bit. Like, so keep an eye on this guy here, right? The number 63. All hell's breaking loose. I was just still full throttle, just like, let's go.
Oh, no.
Love
the
it.
63. Let's see what we got over here. 63 is Poncho over there. So Poncho arrives.
I feel like I'm throwing people under the bus
scene.
here, Ernest.
Yeah, it's fine. She arrives at the scene of the accident, and it's one of those things, you know. It's you get there, you don't expect to see cars parked on the side of the track like that. And now let's see if we can find that incident with and don't worry, I'll keep everybody busy.
What one are we looking at
Troy,
now?
Troy Dolenchek's side-by-side overtake to take that position over there. The 3 wide overtaking maneuver.
Oh, what they were complaining about. Yeah. Right, okay.
I'd love to see what happens there. So, so unfortunately, Oratile involved in that incident. And as you could see, it was just one of those situations where there were just too many cars in the same space. All it takes, like we saw in the GT3 race at Monza this weekend past, it takes one car to spin in the middle of the pack. That's all it takes. One car to spin. It doesn't even have to come from initial contact. All it needs to be is one car spinning in the middle of the pack, and now all of a sudden you've got yourself a massive accident, as we've seen the likes of the race, the GT3 race at Monza a couple of days ago. A similar sort of incident, just not the leaders getting taken out this
I'll
time.
be honest, I think it's maybe a bit of it was lap 2 they said, wasn't it, that they were mentioned that it was 3 wide. The thing is, we had 4 wide on lap 1, so I think that's a little bit but I actually think it might be a little bit of mistaken identity here for Troy, because there's certainly nothing on lap 2 that I see here. So yeah, I'm not sure what the issue is. But either way, we've got plenty of time to pick up because we've got tons of people in for having interviews with. So
let's do some interviews.
Who would you like to have a chat with tonight?
Let's see. Who do we have here? I'm looking at the list over there. I see Elric Enslands in the mix as well. I'd love to hear how his race went. He was certainly someone that I tipped to be doing exceptionally well over there. And I see Troy Dolenschek. So let's chat to Troy. Troy is our winner. Let's chat to our winner first. And I was cruising around in my golf cart the other day and I asked Troy, don't you want to be my friend? What's the story? And his comeback was, as Troy's so slick, he slides into my golf cart and says, I'm your best friend, and completely diffused the situation. Troy Dolenschek, not only did you diffuse my aggressive stance towards you on Saturday, but you diffused the entire grid today. How was that, and what was it like coming from 15th position? And did you manage to that incident? Let's start there. I'm getting excited. Let's start with that second race incident. What was going through your mind as you arrived at what was the chaos into turn 2?
Well, look, I think the biggest part or best part of that was that I actually made it to the first lap, which was quite lucky, to be honest with you. So the fact that I actually got to that point in the race was quite lucky. Avoided a couple of loose cannons there in the first lap, so that was lucky. But yeah, I think that incident was a typical 3 into 1 doesn't go. I got a lucky exit off turn 2, and so I tried to use it. I could see the guy in front in P1 getting away, so I knew, geez, if he gets a big enough gap, it doesn't matter what you do around this track. The margins are so small that if you've got a 5 or 6 second gap, the amount of time it'll take to close that gap is just too much. So I knew I had to get it done quite quickly. And then it was just a case of 3 into 1 doesn't go. I was all the way on the inside because I could see what was coming.
You're on the curb,
I could see what was coming because I think the guy on the outside also didn't know that there were 2 guys on his inside, which is completely understandable.
There was space on the left of the car on the left.
Yes. Yeah, look, I think it was just a typical thing of the guy all the way on the outside didn't know that there were 2 guys on his inside. So he obviously didn't need to leave all that room. But yeah, it was luckily I got out of it unscathed, as they say.
Yeah, well done. A great performance so far. Anything from your side, David?
From my point, it was just such a dominant performance. Obviously, in race 1, it was a lot easier. But when you're at the back or midfield of the pack, your 15th position, and then you're sending it through, you have to be decisive, don't you? You can't be playing it safe.
Yeah, I think decisive and also just patient, because if you go through a couple of the guys too quickly, then that's when the incidents happen. So I think just being patient and waiting for it to come to you is what helped me there. But the guys are really quick, so you don't want to lose the guys in front too quickly. So you also remember that when you're starting 15th, the 4 or 5 guys directly in front of you are basically the quickest because they are the top 5 from the previous race. So you're also thinking to try and get through them as quickly as possible because they are actually the biggest problem towards the end of the race.
Yeah. 100%.
So what happened with you midway through? Your pace slowed down tremendously, and all of a sudden, I think it was second place man, it could have been Chris Carsten, was all of a sudden right on top of you once again. What happened there?
I think I was trying to get some nice lap times in. As the car lightens and the car gets much quicker, and I just went into turn 4 and just pushed too hard. So I went off slightly there, and the sand, like it is in real life, is very thick. So as soon as you dip a wheel, it just slows you down a lot. So yeah, it was just a case I was pushing quite hard to try and see what the car could do, it made my life a bit more difficult.
Yeah, certainly made Chris Carsten's life a little bit more easy for a little bit there. Yeah. Well done on a great performance. By my calculations, that puts you in the championship lead. We look forward to seeing the rest of the season, and I'll bump into you again in a golf cart near you at Killarney Raceway. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Troy Dolenschek. Now, who else have we got here? We got Chris Carsten in second place. Hein van Niekerk was third. Willius Bester was in fourth place. But yeah, in our little chat over there, I think we can drag people over, can I? Yes, I can. Chris Carsten, welcome. Our second place man, you and Troy Dolenschek separated yourself from the pack rather nicely in that second race over there. What was that like?
Hi guys. Well, it was unexpected. So I didn't quite expect to have a nice gap to play with in the first place, but I knew in time he will catch me eventually. So that was a given. He's extremely fast. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But you did fantastic. Let's talk about you. What was your race like? I mean, you did fantastically well. I've been hopping on board with your practice sessions now. You put in a lot of hours to get up to the pace.
It was nice. It was like except for that one incident we had in race one, but racing is racing. It happens. But other than that, there's a lot of work I need to do still. I feel that I'm lacking, especially when it gets to the racing, in close quarters with the other guys. I need to make my decisions more wisely. But that will come, I think, with time, with experience and all that stuff. So I'm working towards that. I'm trying. So on a one lap basis, I can maybe put up a good time, but consistency is the thing I need to work on. So
well, you started on a G29 all the way from the Free State, and now you're on the second step of the podium, top 3, and a great performance in race 2. Chris Carsten, congratulations, and to you and your team and all your supporters. And I'll see you. I'm heading to the Free State in 2 days' time. I'll swing by then.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Chris. Have a great evening.
You
Cheers,
too, guys. Cheers, bye.
Okay, so that was Chris Carsten. Really kept our man honest over there for a couple of laps. Let's hear from Ellerik Enslen, who has always had the pace. Ellerik Enslen, a man that has got many, many successes in sim racing. And now you find yourself at the sharp end of the field, but unfortunately it didn't go your way. Somehow, though, you still managed to end up in 6th on race 2. What happened and how the heck did you manage to carve your way to 6th?
Well, turn 1, the race 2 was quite hectic. Picked up quite a bit of damage. I was trying to avoid a car and then hit someone else that was also already standing on the grass. So quite a bit of damage, but I mean, what can you do? You just gotta have to continue, bring it home.
So what kind of damage did you actually have? And I mean, you finished 3rd in race 1, so that's a very good race 1. But what kind of damage did you have? Because you had to minimize the damage of the result as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, the front bumper was completely off, I think. Usually in the game, it shows you what color it is means how much the damage is, and my front bumper was red, so it means there's nothing left.
Yeah.
So it was quite tough on the straights. Just didn't have really much top speed compared to the other guys, but I mean, it was fun. It was fun trying to get to the front again.
Nice, and you did. You got to 6th place and 3rd place for race 1. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the season. Certainly someone that I'm tipping to do exceptionally well here for the rest of this championship. And we'll see you at round 3. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Ellerik Enslen.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. And then we've got our current championship leader, Tiaan van Rooyen. Let me pull him in. Tiaan van Rooyen, our current championship leader, will be joining us for a quick chat. Tiaan van Rooyen, you're leading the championship going into tonight. And so far, it does look like you had a 10th place, I think, in race 1. And you found yourself a little bit in the mix in race 2. How was race 2 for you?
Tonight was a tough one. I struggled a bit in qualifying, so I couldn't get a clean lap in. Race 1, I was gaining a few positions. I think I was up to 5th place, but then there was a turn 4 incident. I'm going to wait for the footage to review that, but I fell back to about P23, P24, and I had to work up all the way back to P10 there.
You got P10 in both races, as far as my results show.
Yeah.
Well done. What's it like in this situation? What is the mindset? Were you frustrated when you got pushed back so far down?
I just had to keep my head down and not let it get to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to make the comeback. Race two as well, I found myself in a similar position. I was up into a podium position there, I think 3rd place, and I was fighting with 2 people. And one was on my inside, one was on my outside going into turn 3. And the guy on the outside squeezed us. The guy on the inside dipped his wheel onto the grass, and then I was the one that unluckily got punted around and fell back again to around P20 or thereabouts.
Well, I suspect a couple of little pieces of footage will be reviewed, and thankfully that's not my job. I'll leave that to the organizers, Tristan and the rest of the guys. But well done on the comeback, well done on the fight. It's not over. The championship is still early days, and going into this race, you were our leader, so you got a solid scoop of points to take with you. I actually got it incorrect earlier on, because if we add your points and you add Troy's points, I think you might still be at least near the front, maybe even still leading this. So I look forward to seeing those points get tallied up. And Tiaan van Rooyen, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
David Christie, are you still with us?
I am still here, yes.
I'm
still
babbling away over here. Babbling away.
I'm just leaving you to it, man. I think we're good. Did we speak to De Villiers Bester?
No, we did not. I mean, would you like to chat to De Villiers Bester?
It would be nice, because obviously he was at the Power Series this weekend, and he came to visit the guys and girls at Racing Spirit. So I guess it would only be fair to say hello. Good evening, De Villiers. Congratulations on surviving the race, P2 in race 1, P4 in race 2. I mean, race 2 was just a battle of survival, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear, my guy.
There we go. Yeah, no, race 2 was, wow, what a battle. It was fun fighting against the guys, trying to work my way through. But, the guys are quick, so a couple of nice battles in there. But, I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did.
We need a lie down in a dark room after all of the chaos and that. But either way, regardless of what happens, I mean, talk us through, for anybody that's not done sim racing before, what's the feeling like when you're in the middle of just such a hectic fight?
Well, there's just so much going on, cars all around you. You've got to check your blind spot, and the whole time you've got some apps that some radar apps that help you out, just to orientate yourself. But with the MX5, it's such close racing. I mean, you can go 3 wide into a corner, and it can either go one or two ways, and you just got to make sure you come out at the end on top.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, we're looking forward to the rest of the season. We've got another round in just 2 weeks' time. But obviously, it was great for the Racing Spirit team to have your presence this weekend at the Power Series at Killarney. What was it like seeing the team in real life?
It was absolutely awesome watching the on-race battles in real life at Killarney. I mean, this was after round 1, where we did Killarney in the sim racing. Yeah. And it you're kind of half familiar with the track, so it really does bring a new dimension to watching the racing, and you sort of have a reference for where your braking markers are and where the overtaking spots. So and meeting the guys, I mean, Racing Spirit, it's a great group of guys. It was really nice to meet them and to watch their car on track.
Well, you've got an I rating of 2,900, so I think you might know your way around the circuit as well in those brake markers and turning points. So I'm sure you enjoyed it. I'm sure the guys enjoyed having you there. We certainly enjoy having you on our grid, and we look forward to seeing you for the rest of the season. Mr. Bester, thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Well, David Christie, there you have it, the end of yet another round of the MX5 Championship. Shall we have a look at that calendar and see when the next round is as we head into the Power Series? Of course, this syncs up with the local Power Series Championship dates. And Wednesday, the 17th of June, is the next event. And I, for one, cannot wait for that one to take place. It's going to be yet another cracker, and more information will be forthcoming in the coming days and weeks to let all drivers and teams and spectators know exactly where we will continue the championship in the future.
100%. And obviously, with them redoing all of the tracks and stuff like that, and the rest of the order, it's great that the drivers know exactly when it's going to be, but they'll get the notice like we will, and get the update on where these tracks are going to be. So I've got a funny feeling we're in for a few curveballs, but again, a huge thank you to all of the team behind the scenes for making this happen, especially Rich Herring, our wonderful server administrator, and techie guy makes it all happen, to Tristan de Nebrega, to Jared and the rest of the team at Racing Spirit for making all this. And I suppose, Ernest, to you as well, because like you carry the race and you are just such an awesome person to be with here on race nights.
Thank you, David. I think I've got the easiest job here. All I've got to do is talk for an extended period of time, something that I'll do for free. And I've got to say, the new look of the series, the graphics, the on-screen displays, all the detail. I know that a lot of work went into that, and we appreciate all that work to yourself and the rest of the guys. It looked fantastic today, and I think we stuck the landing, guys. It was a bit of a rocky start last week, but I think we stuck the landing on this one, and we hope that the community is happy with the progress that we've made. We intend to continue to make progress, and we look forward to the next round in a couple of weeks' time.
Absolutely. Still 15 seconds, so I could still mute myself nonetheless. But a huge thank you to all of our audience out there on YouTube tonight. It's been awesome seeing the chat. Guys, if there's anything that we can say is please let us know who you're supporting. We do our best to interact with you, to read out your comments, to answer them. This is your show, so we're here to keep you entertained. So thank you so much for spending your night with us. A huge thank you on behalf of myself, David Christie, and from Ernest Page. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for round 3 of the Racing Spirit Mazda MX5 Championship.
I cannot wait.